Here we are in Dallas, Texas. This is Kirk Hopper Fine Arts in Dallas, Texas, over in the Design District. We're here to see the exhibition of Jeremiah Johnson and Duyen Nguyen. It's open from May 11th to June 15th, 2024. Very large space. These are two rooms up in the front here. In the front we have some small prints that are all 8 by 10 inches. These all are intaglio prints by Jeremiah Johnson. It looks like we've got another room here. Second room is work by Duyen Nguyen. So let's start over here with these prints. The first one is titled Ghosts and Garlic. It's a collograph and photo laser engraving. The ghosts are modeled after Munch's Scream. And the rest of these images here were influenced by Johnson's father's record collection. The album covers, which were early inspiration for his work. The first one's titled Eat a Peach. The second one here is a graphite and color pencil drawing Captain Fantastic. It's also 8 by 10 inches based on Elton John's album cover art of the same name. This one is a bit more soulful than the original. The cape contains written lyrics from various disco songs. You're Free by Alternate, Groove is in the Heart from Delay, and Follow Me by Alias. This first one, titled Eat a Peach, both references the Allman Brothers album by the same name and his father's orchard. His mother was also a tractor-trailer driver. And back to Ghosts and Garlic. So that's a photographic, laser-engraved image of garlic there in the foreground. The ghost that sort of referenced Edvard Munch's The Scream there. This last one over here is a laser engraved intaglio print, single color. It's called Supernature, based on the album by Cerrone, or the album single. It's an anatomical corpse on a gurney with a disco ball in the background and a rich aquatint of light and shadows. So this one here is by Duyen Nguyen. It's a painting. Looks to be a double portrait of both the artists. She used stenciled acrylic paint on raw fabric with an embroidered line drawing of two figures. It looks to be the artist, but in the pose of John Lennon and Yoko Ono from the photo by Annie Leibovitz. You can see Nguyen's gestured pencil marks in the work as well. This very large 5-foot by 7-foot painting is a Wynne Johnson collaborative titled Riding the Tiger. Duyen Nguyen on the back of a tiger. Jeremiah's Eastern zodiac sign. There's various scenes throughout the background. This is painted with acrylic on mylar. The background is very flat and is painted on the other side. There's screen printed and relief printed repeated patterns throughout the image. These are scenes depicting her home in Vietnam, but they're riding forward or moving forward into a modern world of fashion design. There looks like Los Angeles as well. Dreams of getting there someday. Portrait of you, a beautiful Ao Yai. There are various magazine images, Bombay Gin, sort of referencing white colonialism. Wynne Johnson, that's their tag that they put on most of their collaborative pieces. It's based on Vietnamese food carts in South Vietnam. There looks to be a portrait of Rei Kawakubo and Versace as well, Japanese designer. The hands also at the Buddhist have Buddhist prayers scrawled on them for luck and wealth. And And here's a photo of the two artists surrounded by a field of sheep. Duyen Nguyen started in America as a self-taught clothing designer, and she cuts up fabric without the use of patterns and puts the dresses together herself. These two dresses here are delicately embroidered, often with layers of embroidery and beadwork. This one is a red dragon dress. The second one is a phoenix dress. The shape and style was of the phoenix dress was inspired by Amish wear in central Pennsylvania. The painting behind it is titled Systems. It's stretched fabric with embroidery and beadwork. She used the Mardi Gras beads she collected in New Orleans in the form of anatomical organs and inspired by her studies to become a nurse. The frame is laser cut and engraved like a draping colon. Here we have a painting by Jeremiah Johnson of a great southern oak tree. It's 26 by 36 inches. Jeremiah makes relief blocks of the various characters in his recent paintings and prints, and then prints them onto mylar surface. This tree is printed and cut paper collage of ghostly images suggesting darker times in the Deep South. You can see a spray paint stencil in the background of elaborate patterns and a long, vibrant abstract brushstroke, perhaps suggesting energy or motion. This is a delicate Sumi brush and ink drawing by Duyen Nguyen titled Dragon and Tiger, made on Japanese paper. It demonstrates the immediacy of how she works sometimes. The work in the second gallery is all by Duyen Nguyen. The first see a larger, these are all embroidered pieces. At first glance, people think they're paintings, but they're actually embroidered. This first one, embroidered and beaded piece, is titled Five Skulls, roughly 24 by 20 inches. It has a laser cut and engraved frame. This piece next to it is entitled Mixed Feelings. It's 20 by 15 inches from 2023. It's a mix of materials, acrylic painted figures with embroidered tigers and other symbols, along with silk flowers and American flag pins. Below that is Twins and Zodiac, a combination of digital and machine embroidery, beads, silk flowers, and objects from Mardi Gras throws. The Dragon Turtle, embroidery on sheer fabric, both hand embroidery as well as ink lettering. She doesn't shy away from mixing unexpected materials in her work as well as languages she speaks. 5 different languages, and she writes in Chinese as well. This very large tapestry-like piece called Save the Earth, it's embroidery and embroidered fabric collage on a bed comforter, 36 by 48 inches. The words in Vietnamese say, protect the environment, protect the planet, I love the earth. In her own words, we have to keep the green with us to make God happy, both the God in the north and the God in the south. This piece right here is called Untitled. It's 28 by 38 inches. It's one of Nguyen's earliest embroidered paintings with a more abstract composition, little things that trail your eyes around the fabric, from flowers, birds, and snakes to trim and Venus flytrap eating COVID molecules. The warrior picture is embroidered figures on horses, everything in the foreground contrasting with acrylic painting on a rough canvas surface. Her embroidery is so clean and tight that people often mistake it for painting. And the skull and bones carried onto the frame. Very detailed. An Over here we have another Win Johnson collaborative portrait, painted this time by both artists. It's 48 inches by 36, that's 4 feet by 3 feet. It's acrylic and spray paint, some relief printing on translucent mylar. The stencil patterns and the translucency of the mylar reminds me of some of Sigmar Polke's paintings from Germany. Only they're poking fun again at the stereotype that probably gets dealt to this couple a lot, the interracial marriages. Him being naked just like John Lennon, perhaps demonstrating who has the power in the relationship. Here we have a couple of drawings, a combination of China marker, black acrylic, and ink on Western paper by Duyen Nguyen. The one on the left here, skeletal system, and the right, digestive system, both 18 by 24 inches, inspired by her nursing studies. Also in this third gallery, we have a collection of works by Jeremiah's alter ego, Job Johnson, who lived during the turn of the last century in the mountains of Pennsylvania. This is a way of this different identity provides Johnson with a way of separating himself from a desire to make artwork in a different style from a different time period, a way to preserve a heritage that's nearly all but lost in today's world. These are stories collected from his grandparents, as well as stories he's read about, all regional to central Pennsylvania. The top photo is a portrait of Job taken around the early 1920s with a few of his works behind. Below that is titled Witch Paper with a metal horseshoe. These papers were often found in the backs of old Pennsylvania Dutch dressers to ward witches away from your property. Very superstitious. Next to that is a coffin notice for Alan Pinkerton, drawn up by the Molly Maguires, a vigilante gang of coal miners that were sort of protesting the harsh conditions in central Pennsylvania. Mostly Irish, but there was also a lot of Eastern Europeans working in these coal mines. The second one here is Frank Gowen, who is the coal mine owner. Here we have Runaway Headless Chicken, also by Job Johnson. This piece depicts a butchering of a chicken. It looks like the chicken runs straight down the lane. It was a story reflected to him from his father and his grandfather. I Wind Who Holds, where is a story about where if a girl throws a ball of yarn into an old haunted house, it winds it up, the voice in the house will reveal the name of her future husband. This one is called Metzel Soup. It's about the ghost mixing a cauldron of Metzel soup that creates the great mists that appear in the mountains in the morning. This one here is called Ghost of the Dancing Cupboard. Also a strange, unusual story of a woman who was walking down a mountain road. She was chased or taunted and tormented by a dancing cupboard. This one is old Simcox coffin ghost, also floating down the road. Here we have the Gump Stump. This was relayed to Jeremiah from his grandfather. He used to go up in the woods to this space, this mystical place. It's actually just an old spring house. Up here is Laura May on a fence, a young great aunt of his, retelling the story of how mischievous she used to be. Not very ladylike for her to be playing around like that. Yeah, all these works were done on handmade paper with handmade frames. Over here we have Cajun Friends shadows. All these images that were actually laser cut, brightly colored paint in the background. This one's called New Year's One by Duyen Nguyen. She's using a lot of pattern and detail with that, mixed media as well. Looks like some of the images are printed on there, acrylic painting as well as ink. Here's the final room, the largest space of the gallery. These look to be like all larger paintings in here. Works on this wall seem to be Jeremiah Johnson's his larger paintings. This first one, titled Butterfly, uh, fairly highly detailed. He sort of considers himself a maximalist painter. Likes to put a lot into the work. The German writing with the Pennsylvania Dutch like fracture surrounding it. In German, it's written. It's an old saying. Little Susie had a steamboat. The steamboat had a bell. Miss Susie went to heaven, and the steamboat went to hell. There's a lot of detail in that. A white rabbit or a man dressed in a rabbit's costume. It's very Hieronymus Bosch-like. Two figures kissing in the center. Other figures interacting at what seems to be a party. Some flowers in the background. This other one next to it is called Hard Work, psychedelic version. There's two versions of this painting. They're both the same size. Both those paintings are 3 feet by 4 feet. These words are also written in German. It says hard work. Harte Arbeit pays, zult, the debt that you gain from hard work in a circular pattern. Talks about how his father carries on the tradition to him through the hug, the idea of hard work and labor in order to make money. He grew up on a fruit and flower farm. All those images represent that. This larger painting is called Nighttime. It's roughly looks to be 6 feet high by 4 feet wide. Got figures with bags over their heads in the foreground, their hands in the air, sort of like they don't have any responsibility towards anything, or simply don't care to see what's going on in the world. In the background, there's a very large pine tree made up of shadows of ghosts, mysterious spirits, perhaps the spirits of the woods. And we've got these large swaths of orange brush strokes across the painting, sort of represent image or energy. Lots of little relief printed images in the background. This one on the end here is also 3 feet by 4 feet. Is called Ayahuasca Visions. It's from Johnson's reflection of Johnson's trip to Peru, the visions he saw when he was taking the ayahuasca, living with a medicine man for a week. He had this vision that he believed that he was incarnated or transformed into a deer. Got large ghost-like images in the background. That's where he first came across that vision of those ghosts. This piece on the end here is called Skid Row. It's 4 feet by 3 feet roughly in size. It's a very large, very loosely gesturally painted colon. Here the brushstroke serves a purpose in the work. You've got vinyl stickered crows in the painting, sort of mocking what looks to be layered in the background of unpaid medical bills. A lot of Johnson's unpaid medical bills. He's been suffering from ulcerative colitis since 2021. We've got various other characters in there saying, "Welcome to Skid Row." A pun on perhaps the disease itself. There's this church. It's called House of Worship. It's very large. It's about 3 feet wide by about 5 feet tall, made up of all of Johnson's prescription drugs. It's lighted from the inside. You can see there's even various medicine bottles, all dealing with the medicine you take for ulcerative colitis. The steeple's made out of an enema bottle as well. This painting in the back corner here is called Human Alienation from the Environment, number 3. You can see relief printed figures, photographic images, photo relief, woodcut figures that were printed, staring at their cell phones, living with technology, some playing video games, others with VR headsets on, oblivious to what's going on around them. These little bubbles. It's 3 feet by 3 feet. This work here is a collaborative piece by Nguyen Johnson Company. It's also 3 feet by 4 feet. This one is called Spellbound. You can see a portrait of Duyen Nguyen in the center there, dressed as a witch in a line pattern, along with beautiful flowers around her, larkspur, I think they are. Purple larkspur flowers, skulls and crossbones with little letters embedded on their heads. Those letters represent Vietnamese vowels, the different vowels that they have in the lettering. This one here is titled "There's Something About You." It's also a Nguyen Johnson collaborative painting. It's a little bit larger. It's got a lotus flower pattern around it. You see in the foreground is looks to be Duyen Nguyen spanking Jeremiah Johnson as a line drawing. He's wearing a suit. She's wearing a traditional Vietnamese áo dài. There's their logo again. Portrait of both the artists there. In the back, in the details of the figure is written words, lyrics by Iggy Pop of his song China Girl. It references the guilt of an interracial relationship, the guilt he has as a Westerner, play in the war. She's getting her revenge on him. This is a painting by Duyen Nguyen. It's very similar to their collaborative work. You can tell she's influenced greatly by Jeremiah Johnson's paintings. In this one, we see a Buddhist or a Buddha represented as a female, the dragon above it, various koi fish, and these mechanical robot-looking female figures, both on the left and the right of the painting. Spray paint in the background. It's what is called the Red Boy. It's a story in Buddhist mythology. Got a little baby boy in the foreground. This is also a collaborative painting by Nguyen Johnson. You can see Jeremiah's trademark brush strokes in the background. Flowers that they both incorporate into their work, as well as the stencil pattern that I've seen in the earlier paintings that we viewed. Spray paint stencils in the background. This final piece here is by Jeremiah Johnson. It's called Cajun Friends. These are all individual relief woodcut blocks that he prints onto mylar. And then he does the painting in the background. The painting is done layered with colors, 2 colors for each stripe. One is layered acrylic paint and then colored pencil applied over that to sort of give a very dimensional look to it. The variation of sizes of each one of the relief printed blocks are, create a sort of a dimension and a space and atmosphere about the picture itself. Yeah, this is a really large space here at Kirk Hopper Fine Arts. This exhibition is up through June 15th of 2024. You have to really come in and see it and spend time with that. There's a lot to look at, a lot of details to look at. And thank you.